All right. Woo. Welcome to episode 12 of the Save Point Podcast. We are still on the new set. It still has barely been touched. We do have a new addition, Doritos and Mountain Dew, for when we want to get peckish gamer style. Isn't that right?
Yes. This is also episode 11.
Yeah. No, it's not. It is. It is. It's episode 11. Sorry. I also do podcasts for other people, and I did an episode 12 last night, and it fucked me up. But yeah, we got our Mountain Dew Dorito in the middle of the screen.
Some gaming toys and accessories.
We've got gaming stuff here. We're gonna
when we make $1
broaden
million
the
more
set.
dollars,
We're gonna make it a bit
improve.
more better up. But it's already a massive upgrade from what we had, so we'll keep going from here. But so this week, one of our dedicated fans wrote into our email. We'll put it out there soon. What it is. Somehow they found it. But they said, hey, can you talk about this? What is it? The woke content detectors curated list of games. Which is this from Steam?
It's got heavy influences from Steam. Yeah, they're an actual group on Steam.
Yeah, so it's a Steam group where what they do is basically their whole thing is they go through games and determine if it's woke or not. We're going more into this to take the piss because most of these things are like, brother, what are you doing? Who cares this much? There's sometimes where it's like when you look at games like, oi, shut up. Like, this is over the top. Like, what was that game that came out this year that we talked about?
the
Dustborn? Was it Dustborn?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry,
or whatever it was, that one where
episode.
it was like your weapons were getting triggered and things like that. But
sorry, I thought you were talking about the last previous
No,
episode. No, we did talk about Dustborn on it.
yeah, Dustborn. That's like an egregious, like, shut up. But most of these are like, brother, you are reaching so hard. You just hate anyone that isn't you.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
And we do not share these opinions, just to clarify.
We don't.
No.
We don't share these opinions. It's this, like I said, this is us taking the piss out of it because
Our viewer may, but we don't know. So
Yeah, our viewer said to us,
it's actually his list.
freaking I made this list. It is pretty epic. And I said, no, it's not.
Shout out. Oh, wow. Shout out Jacob again.
Shit out.
Shit out.
What did you call him?
Jacob.
No, you didn't. What do you call him?
Oh, no, I just mispronounced shut out.
God, yeah. I need to get new
Yeah, we do.
stuff on this board, don't I?
We need the Skibbity Riz voice notes.
Yeah, we do. Skibbity Riz. All right, so let's look at this list. This is the woke content detectors curated list of games. So we're just going to speed run through this thing because it is what? How many?
1,500.
1,500. How much time do you have on your case, idiot? And it's not even in order. It's just random games, isn't it?
No, there's a recommended, informational, and not recommended. So we could, I don't know what the colours mean.
All right,
they're
well,
the
let's just quickly go through some.
The colours, very quickly, there's 3 colours: red, yellow, blue. Red is not recommended. Yellow is iffy. Blue is no woke.
Oh, okay.
All right, well, let's look at... I want to look at Baldur's Gate because I feel like that's a fairly open game. So number 5 is... Yeah.
Sorry, just to set the tone of this list, would you like to inform the viewers what the first entry on the list was?
Yeah, I didn't want to do that because we'd already looked at it, but yeah, we'll do it. It's number 1 on the list is Balloons Tower Defense 6. So let's just say those monkeys popping balloons kind of be woke though.
Yeah.
But the reason why it's not recommended, Balloons Tower Defense 6, because it contains overly pro-LGBTQ plus messaging. There is a pride flag item in the trophy store with a pro-pride message. PSI is referred to using they, them pronouns.
If you've never played Balloons, it is tower defense. It is monkeys popping balloons.
Yeah, I don't understand why this, bro,
And
shut
I'm pretty
up.
sure the balloons are multicolored anyway, so wouldn't that be a thing to worry about as well? And they've been there since the beginning.
Maybe the monkeys are homophobic. They're trying to kill the gay balloons.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
That could be it.
They're building their tower to defend
Maybe
themselves
they got
from
this wrong. They're not reading into it enough. Balloons Tower Defense is
I think
anti-gay.
they're reading into it way too much.
Balloons Tower Defense is homophobic. That's our clip. Let's say it one more time. Balloons Tower Defense, it is the most homophobic game around.
something. And they're not recommended for gameplay.
It's not recommended because the monkeys are against the gay coloured balloons. Okay, so Number 5 on this list is Baldur's Gate 3. So, contains overly pro-LGBTQ plus messaging, non-binary / other option available for identity in the character creation menu, uses body type instead of male and female, optional homosexual romance. Bro, like, who cares about that stuff?
Yeah.
Like, that stuff, it's like, it's not pushed in your face. It's just do whatever you want.
It's an option. You get to choose.
Exactly.
Leave it at that.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing with, like, I'm going to say the full range of this list is all of it is optional.
Yeah.
It's like, if you don't like it, you don't have to go looking for it. Like, you're choosing to get up in arms about this.
Yeah, bro, what is going on with this?
Scroll a little bit further up. I want to look at the Hogwarts Legacy one. I'll scroll down, I guess.
It's right there.
I just wanted it at the top of the screen, but that's fine.
Oh, you're a freak. Okay, so Hogwarts Legacy.
Warner Bros. Game. They have some interesting track record with Harry Potter and the LGBTQ plus community.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to J.K. Rowling and wanting to kill anyone that isn't a white female.
Yep. Game contains overly pro-LGBTQ plus messaging, contains overly pro-DEI messaging. In 1800s, Scotland somehow has diverse LGBTQ plus characters, uses body type instead of biological sex.
Okay, so I think this is all dumb, but yeah, the part where it's, I know it's wizards and everything, but it's like 1800s and isn't there a big thing in Harry Potter where it is fairly racist against muggles and wizards, and the wizards like don't like the muggles and all the muggles don't know wizards.
It's the whole basis behind the Death Eaters, and that is that they think wizards should rule and not hide from muggles.
But don't like a lot of wizards, they're not like Death Eater level, but they don't really like muggles. I could be wrong. I haven't read those books.
They treat them as stupid.
Second-class citizens.
Yeah.
Same as they do with the house elves.
Which is like, yeah, exactly. Which I think sort of contradicts like the LGBTQ plus stuff that's in that game. I know it's wizards dumb, but if it's already a theme in the universe,
which now makes a lot more,
it sort of makes it redundant.
It now makes a lot more sense with what's come out with J.K. Rowling in the last 4 or 5 years.
Oh, it's been longer than that.
Yeah,
it's been since like the 4th book or something. No, whenever it was. Yeah.
That's why the last book sold so well.
Yep. Yeah, nothing new there.
Yeah, like all the other, I think all that stuff in a normal game, dumb. Like who cares? But I do see the argument. I don't know if I necessarily agree with it that all the stuff being in that time period, whereas very much the opposite of that in real world.
Assassin's Creed 3's got an interesting one. Nothing so much about sexuality, but forced diversity that is inaccurate for the time period. Don't you play as a Native American and early colonial,
which is very accurate.
No, but that's not what they're complaining about. They would be complaining about the fact that there's black people in it and they're not slaves.
Ah.
Yes. Okay. That chestnut.
I'm saying a Wolong game there, not Black Myth, but Fallen Dynasty.
It's Wukong, but that's okay.
That's yeah.
Yeah, I'd still.
Brock is not recommended because he is racist.
Meh.
That wasn't a no. All right, keep going.
Don't.
All right.
If that's the no, I do not want that to be another rumor. No.
A rumor.
Moving on. Oh, there's a lot of
Call of Duty Warzone contains overly pro-LGBTQ plus images, multiple pride flag calling cards, and emblems. Who cares?
Yeah, all of which are optional.
And I can tell you're never going to see that in that game. If anyone's playing with that, they're not the Call of Duty crowd.
And they're not doing it. They're doing it ironically.
Yeah. It looks like it's the same thing for Modern Warfare 2019 and for Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3.
So all the current games, not the older games.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if you were around when Call of Duty did custom emblems, you were not seeing any pride flags.
All right, let's look at Red Dead 2. So this is informational, this one. It is contained subtly pro-DEI. What is DEI?
I don't know. I was going to look it up earlier, but...
Messaging. Several minor characters expose modern-day political... Espouse, sorry. There's no X there, I'm an idiot. Espouse modern-day political sentiments. As an example, the NPC Sadie Adler behaves the same way as a modern-day feminist would.
All right, so a DEI message is a diversity, equity, and inclusive statement.
Oh, so not being a dick.
Yep. It conveys a company's commitment to DEI.
This is dumb. Sadie Adler behaves the same way as a modern day feminist would.
Which,
Bro, did they play that game?
yeah, I don't think so.
Because her character, the whole thing is that, I think is it not pushed in your face? I don't know why I said that. Is it subtly hinted at, or is it actually explained that she gets at the start of the game?
It's heavily meant.
Yeah.
I'm going to bleep that word, but R-worded.
It's very...
Yeah.
I don't know
and
if I'd
the
say
whole
heavily
thing is
implied, but it's implied
towards.
fairly
Yes.
heavily.
And then the whole thing is that she's standing, like, she slowly grows to be able to stand up for herself and becomes
Yeah.
a badass. And it's like, this is so fucking dumb. Whoever's writing this is some dumb neck being behind a computer.
And I mean, they have no mention there of all the, like, actually, let me have another look. Yeah, but I mean, there's all suffrage and stuff in there. There's the women walking around protesting and that sort of stuff. So
There's
no
heaps of
mention
stuff
of that either.
There's a lot of, like, time period accurate things in this game, which makes me feel weird that they put that in there. All right, Skyrim Special Edition. Informational, contains subtly pro-LGBT plus messaging, contains subtly pro-DEI messaging, homosexual marriage options. An NPC in Whiterun asks you whether the sight of a strong Nord woman offends you. Bro, who cares?
Well, clearly the person who wrote this list, I'd say that they answered yes to that last question.
Me with my dark elf and purple eye build is heavily offended by a strong woman.
God. Oh, man. This is so dumb, this list. I don't know how long we can stay on it because it's already doing my head in. Let's look at some recommended. Metro 2033 contains no woke content. Oi, the Metro series, go for it because none of it's woke. Shout out to Russia.
That's a shock right there.
Yeah, recommended.
Civilization?
Oh, so Civ 6, nut. Civ 5, yep.
I love how,
Suleiman. Okay.
I'm noticing how, other than, like, there's 4 there, the Borderlands, Metro. The next couple, ones that have 0 story whatsoever, they're not woke.
Yeah, well, you can't win them all.
You can't. You really
It's just
can't.
anything that has a story is just like, no, it's
Oh yeah, I
woke.
knew Sekiro was goated. It's recommended. There's no woke content at all.
From Software dropped the ball with the other games then.
Yeah, they really did.
Helldivers 2. Yep, that makes...
No clear distinction between male or female.
The intro notably features a mixed race family that then gets slaughtered immediately by the Terminids or whatever they are.
Oh god.
Final Fantasy.
This is so dumb. Bro,
We're also not even at 100 yet. There is 1,500 entries into this list.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I want to find... Let's try and look for a game. What's a game that is like...
Well, Dragon Ball Sparking is on there.
Where is it? Sorry, I can't see it.
Keep scrolling down. Sparking 0.
No woke content.
content.
Yeah, because Toriyama was the goat.
Yu-Gi-Oh as well.
God, yeah.
Oh my lord.
The Bioshock games are on there as warning or not recommended.
Bioshock 2 contains no woke content. That's what I
Infinite
thought.
heavily social commentary on racism.
Yeah, that's like the whole thing of Infinite. Oh god. This is honking, this list.
I have a feeling that there's going to be a very large overlap between the people who go for this sort of stuff and the people who feel that games are too political.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point of the list.
It's...
Surely there's a Pokemon game on this list somewhere.
Oh yeah, let's go to Pokemon. Or if it's a...
They're not alphabetical.
No, can I
Alphabetical.
search anywhere?
Control F.
Yeah, I was going to say. No, Command F, sorry. Pokemon.
Game Freak are goated.
Yeah.
Unless it's going to make you do the apostrophe.
Oh, if I type in Game Freak. Oh god, yeah. Keep speaking, bruh.
No, I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to think of other games we could look up. Mario?
I was about to say, try some of the Mario games. Yeah.
Made...
Oh, guess
only
no
one
Mario. What about Halo?
Probably don't want to get sued by Nintendo.
Yeah.
No Halo either.
I'm scared of Microsoft as well.
Nah, but I mean, people who are into this probably aren't playing Halo. It's all going to be...
They're playing Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, God yes.
Oh, metaphor.
What else? Actually, what's a more recent?
This sucks. I think we got to get off this soon.
I was gonna say, see what they say about.
Go to the recommended tab and see what games are worth playing.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't think you can.
Yeah, right there.
Do you know how to use Google Sheets?
I don't use Google Sheets.
Yeah.
Well, no, there's no point in looking at this. We want to look at the ones that aren't recommended. 'Cause it's just the same thing for all of them.
Yeah.
Let's look at not recommended. Let's go random. So,
Yeah.
there's a game called Non-Binary, but apparently you can't. That's the one's not recommended. What a surprise.
Drag Stars. Are they just looking for games that are definitely not going to be recommended?
Of course they are. They'll be doing nothing with their life.
Yeah, that's a very fair point.
Absolute idiots.
PGA Tour,
Where was PGA Tour?
right where your cursor is.
Oh, I didn't
Is
look
Grand
yet.
Theft Auto on there?
Yeah, we had that just before.
Did we?
Yeah, GTA 5 was on there.
I didn't see that.
Yeah,
It
neither.
just said many NPCs are.
Gay.
Yep. That was it.
Well, I mean,
There was-
there's literally the expansion Ballad of Gay Tony.
Yeah.
It's not Ballad of Straight Tony, is it? Freak.
Yeah. These
he did have the best cheeks though.
are people who
Did.
have way too much time on their hands and read far too much into like games. I can't
What?
even vocalize what I want to call these people. Honestly,
You can use your words.
Frickin' freaks.
yeah, I don't want to get cancelled.
That's okay.
You're going to be put on this list again.
This list.
Yeah, again.
Why would I be on this list?
We already talked about it.
Well, from the Reddit thread, what is it? Gaming Circle Jerk. Oh, it is the same list.
Oh, yeah.
Bloons Tower Defense 6. God.
Yeah, just all comments on people.
Half-Life 2 no woke content.
Yeah.
Must have missed
Mr.
the
Black disabled scientist and his genius daughter being key leaders of the resistance.
Oh, lordy. Makes me want to play it even more.
To be fair, I mean, like, I feel like back in the day, it definitely was not as... I think when there was stuff like this, it was definitely not as pushed in your face.
There wasn't countless news articles and gaming
Or
articles
not even
about
necessarily that. I mean, like, for example, them bringing that up. Like, I mean, we talked about this character literally in the last episode, but Eli from Half-Life 2, he's just a black scientist and he's missing his leg.
Yeah.
Because I think it was that he lost it either in Black Mesa or like a war or something. They don't really mention it. It's just there. And it's just a part and like...
It's a
That's
story
it.
device. It
Yeah,
gives
I
him
think
backstory.
there
Well, I
might be
don't
a
think
point
it's
where
even-
there's a point where he's a little bit slower to get up somewhere because of his leg or
Yeah,
something.
he makes a comment about how he's not as spry as he used to be.
Yeah, or something like that. But that's it.
Yeah.
And people don't care about that. But I think it is when it is very much a lot more of a point of focus. People get pissed and they keep talking about it. And it seems like it's very much like a, look what we put in our game.
Just like
We're
what
better than
we
everyone else.
discussed in our last studio, the Dragon Age
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
They specifically asked reviewers not to play certain missions and storylines so that way nothing came out before the game released. Which,
Here's the thing.
interesting option.
There are definitely games that will... Their whole identity is like Dustborn. Hey, we're going to go all in
Yeah.
on like showing how silly some things can be. Or there's ones who go the complete opposite where they're just, we're going to push it straight into your face. And if you're not happy with it, then you're the problem. These people aren't able, I feel like if people make jokes on them, they're not going to be able to take the joke.
All right.
at all.
Did I, don't want to cut you off too much. Did I show you guys any of the cringe clips from Dustborn?
No.
I think you've sent some of them to me, but whether these are going to be the same
This was
ones.
like months ago, but like since we're on the topic, I reckon this is the type of stuff that I think makes people write those types of lists. These are once in a blue moon that you see games that are so like this, but then it triggers those, not trying to use that because it's such a controversial word, but it triggers these type of people to go out and write
it
these
in
lists
other
of like,
places.
everything's woke. Blah, 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 blah.
It's controversy. Oh wow, what is going on? Controversy of like
It's clickbait.
it
We've
is.
certainly seen some massive failures in the gaming industry, but every once in a while, something that is so
God,
cringe
yeah.
comes across, and you can't help but point and laugh. And that absolutely has been the
Don't know
game
who this guy is.
Dustborn, where you play as a group of outcast queers who thinks that everyone against them are fascists, and they use words as a weapon.
Magic words.
And of course, one of the more interesting ones, cancel. Cancel will allow us to isolate people from their friends and compatriots in battle. This could be a useful tool
I
against
thought this
enemies.
was going to be actual
not
gameplay,
only do
but
these
just some sweaty nerd talking about it. I mean, there's people like this. He seems like he's very much. We watched 30 seconds of a video, but it seems like it's the opposite type of person that this game's aimed for.
Yes.
This seems like the type of person who would have written this list, and this stuff like this just fuels the fire. But like, where is it? I just want to find like a cringe clip of this game and just show you how.
I mean, it'd probably be easy to find clips on TikTok, but then there's
The
also...
wokest game ever, Dustborn, has abysmal
Yeah, you know,
players.
that's probably your
same
best bet.
dude.
It is the same.
Probably is, yeah. Let me get it up on TikTok. You guys keep going.
Yeah, it's people getting up in arms over stuff that really doesn't concern them, nor is it even aimed at them, or like it's a nothing thing.
Yeah.
You're getting up in arms over nothing.
It's like that guy on TikTok it was years ago now, I think. He went around and dressed up as different cultures in the communities and asked if it offends them. Like he goes to Mexican communities dressed as like a
I do
sombrero
remember
and all that
this.
sort of thing.
Yeah,
And then went on the news and they were like, everyone loved it. And then you went to like a college campus and asked everyone there and they were like, cultural appropriation, you're being racist, this is unacceptable. And everyone's like, the only people who had a problem with it were people that had nothing to do with it.
I
Yeah.
tell you,
Yeah.
the best example of that, and I'll bring it back to gaming. Do you remember when they announced Ghost of Tsushima and they had the guy up on stage playing the Japanese flute or whatever it was?
yeah,
And everyone, it was a white guy, and he had like a traditional,
kimono or something
Like-
on. Yeah,
well, it was like a hat, and then some sort of kimono or yukata or something wearing that, and people blew up on Twitter saying this is cultural appropriation. Why don't you get a Japanese person to do this? Blah blah blah. He ended up being like the most qualified person in the world to do it, like the top person in this
Yeah.
certain instrument and all this stuff.
it's something you see in movies a lot as well when they like they'll have a able-bodied actor play a disabled person, and they like everyone blows up about why did you not get a disabled person to play it? Blah blah. Blah. And it's like no one who was of that disability applied for the role. We had to make do with what we had.
And also,
Sorry.
depending on the disability, they might not have the ability to actually act that.
Yes.
Like,
They-
I mean, it
they
gets,
may just be a guy with that disability. They
it might,
can't act.
it could get to
Exactly.
a fine line where it might be a mental disability and they might not be able
Yeah.
to cognitively be able to act to the level that is needed for the movie. That could be few and far between. It might be a physical one where it's a bit easy to just get someone in, but at the same time, you need someone of an X amount of caliber. And also, I'm sorry, I know people want to get people more involved who might have those disabilities and things like that. If it's a big budget movie, those movie studios are not going to put some no-name in just because they're disabled. They're going to try and get whoever is the biggest name
Yeah.
that they can to try and get in, because that's going to put butts in seats.
Yeah.
Just like how they put fucking, like, I remember one big thing was when they did the Ghost in the Shell
I was
movie.
about to say.
And
yeah.
they got Scarlett Johansson, and like, well, why didn't you get a Japanese actress?
Because
It's like because people know
yeah.
Scarlett Johansson, and the movie. I mean, I don't think it would have done any better if it was not her.
I definitely could have done worse.
Yeah,
they
but
spent a lot of the budget getting her, but at the
Yeah.
same time, they wouldn't have made any of it back. if
No,
they had
exactly.
No name.
I mean, and tying back to gaming again, when they had Chris Pratt voice Mario.
yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, that wasn't really a controversy. I was just like, why didn't you get? What's
They
his
had
name?
someone who could voice Mario already, but they didn't have to go for Chris Pratt. They
Yeah,
could have
but
gone
that's for
a
different
bunch of
reasoning.
other
Yeah, no,
people.
I fully agree with you, but that was not the same reasoning what we're talking about.
Well, no, but they could have gone for someone who was actually like a trained voice actor as opposed to an actor.
No, we get that. That's not what we're saying though. The reason we were saying about the ScarJo thing was because it was more
It's
of a race
racial
thing, and
thing.
yeah,
I get that.
yeah.
Sorry.
With Mario was just Illumination or whoever being like, oh, we need someone big money.
Yeah,
and
I
they
was
didn't want to get.
highlighting the movie.
Yeah, they did.
Going, we want the big name.
Yeah, they
we
didn't
don't
want to
the
get
small name.
Chris Martinet, even though he's done Mario for 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have got him
that's
for
awesome.
Mario. The rest of the cast was already star-studded as it was. But you've got the original voice actor who still does Mario.
Yeah, well, he doesn't anymore.
Not- yeah, but at the time
they
of the movie.
retired him. Nintendo retired him, and now he's an ambassador for Mario or something like that.
Yeah.
I feel like that was hey, we're getting flack that you weren't in the movie. You're not doing this anymore. We'll give you some BS role just so don't get as much hate. I feel like that's what that was.
It's a very
Like
fair
he
point.
is getting on in years.
Yeah, but he's also like
He also doesn't have to act. He just uses his
Your
voice.
voice.
it's just a voice actor. A lot of voice actors stay around for till they're 80.
Yeah, I know.
Look at what's her name?
Kevin
Goku.
Conroy did it for how many years?
Yeah,
He did it up till he died.
Yeah, but I mean, like he wasn't young, but he also wasn't.
No, but he was
decrepit.
like 70.
He was nearly 80, I think, because
Let's have a look at Kevin Conroy. He wasn't
think-
that old, was he?
I think he was like 76 or something.
he was getting up there. Because I mean, he's been doing Batman since.
The animated show.
Yeah.
He was 66. Yeah, he wasn't that old.
I was 10 years.
But I'm thinking of what's her name? Who plays Goku? She is ancient.
Oh, Kid Goku.
No,
No,
Goku in general. Yeah, Misako Nozawa.
Oh, okay.
She's
sorry.
88 and she still plays Goku.
It's pretty hectic.
And I mean, she sounds good.
Yeah.
Still, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the Japanese voice of Goku that much. I've never been. I know
Nothing
some
on
people.
nothing to.
Yeah, nothing on
at
her.
all. It's just
Nothing
I'm not
on
a fan
her.
of the very high pitched character.
I think she did a good job as him as a kid because she played Kid Goku, and
Yes.
obviously Dragon Ball came out first, and she just did a bit more of a older version of that when he got older. But it's not as impactful, man.
For a kid, I don't mind a high pitched voice.
Yeah, that's
when you're
fine.
voicing an adult character, a high pitched voice, it sounds very odd.
Yeah. Some of the stuff he says, but let's see if I can find a Dustborn.
What
real
did you
quick.
like the most about
No, I don't want
All right, here we go.
No, I don't want to log in. Yeah, continuous guest. Go off.
Where were we before that? I can't remember.
I don't know, but games are cringe.
Games are cringe. They
If you
probably
like
can't
gaming,
have a lot of
you're
the
a
clips
cringe
for
master. I don't think I can
Dustborn
find any.
online because they're going to be not TOS, but they're not going to get many views if you're showing stuff straight from the game. If it's clickbaity and woke propaganda, as they say.
I mean, we very briefly touched on it, I believe, in the previous episode. I know you remember the name of them. That company that comes round. for all the
Sweet
studios.
Baby Inc., I think.
Yeah, they come
I
around
can
and like
look that up.
basically say, no, you need more inclusion of these characters. You need more of this sort of stuff. And a lot of the time, it's inclusion just to have those things there. It doesn't actually add anything to the overall story or tone. It's just, no, they're present. We
Okay, so
crowbarred them in.
my non-informed information about this company is I've only heard this secondhand from people online. It could be people that are just super against it, but at least what I've heard, this company called Sweet Baby Inc., their whole job is they're basically like an inclusivity company where they're brought into your game to basically do a run through of it to see if it's inclusive enough and if you should add or take out elements. The most recent story was with Wukong or something that they wanted to come on and go through Wukong and make sure it was all good. Everyone on the staff was like, no, we don't want you to do it. And they were getting upset. Oh, your game's... it's
Something
fucked
about
up,
not
yeah.
being like the women representation.
Yeah, there's
wasn't
not enough
appropriate.
representation in the team and then in the game. But apparently their price tag to do this stuff is like $5 million. It's something ridiculous.
Yeah, when
And
you
for a game
describe
that
them,
cost like, I don't know what it was. It wasn't a lot of money though. It was like 20-something million.
yeah,
It's not viable for them to just tell you to change things and then you going no.
look, when you first, like when you were describing them just then, as a... Sorry, I'm struggling with my vocabulary tonight.
Words, mouth, memory time.
as an idea, I can definitely agree that like having a outside company to come through and be like, hey, we just want to have a quick look over this, and here's some pointers we think you can maybe include. Cool. Don't mind that at all. When they're then coming through and going, no, you need to put these things in because otherwise it's not inclusive enough. They might have a point. They very well might have a point. But
Don't charge an arm and a leg to fucking do
yes,
that, though.
yes.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I just had a quick read on here on their Wikipedia, and apparently it's a couple of ex-Ubisoft developers. And the idea is it's a company that consults on video game narratives during development to promote diversity, equality, and inclusion within games, narratives, and studios.
Which, again, as you've said it there, sounds great. Sounds awesome.
At least everything I've seen about it, it's been a bit the other end of it.
The people who have actually worked with them,
Yeah. And it seems like, at least, again, I'm not super informed about this, but everything I've seen is that it seems like it's almost like one of those things where I don't know how to properly articulate it. That you almost have to do it, or else you're looked down upon in the industry. It looks like a fairly new company, but if you get all people do it, if you don't do it, you'll almost seem like, oh, you must be racist, or you must be sexist, or you must be XYZ thing because you didn't do this one thing. And it seems like it's a big shift in the gaming industry that probably needs to be for a lot of this stuff anyway. But I think there's some people who might take advantage of it, jump on it to the nth degree, and really try and push it in your face, I guess you could say. And everything I've heard about this company's been horrendous. Like, it's a raw, I'm sorry, $5 million to say, no, this isn't woke enough.
I mean, I doubt that's how they word it, but it's...
Never stops.
That's the bottom line,
And
though.
sweet baby and ops.
No, they shouldn't. 5 million's a bit steep. Have someone come in and look at all, or hire them for play testers or something. Be like, yep, that worked well.
Yeah.
Just, it didn't work. You should change this a little bit. Whether or not they're going to do it or not, it's a different story, but there shouldn't be some like big stamp of approval that, this game's woke, you're all good to go.
My biggest problem with this is how many times have you played a game and a character will, and I realize this is going to sound like I should be like adding to the list we were looking at previously. How many times have you been playing a game where they introduce a character and the character's fine, everything works great, blah, blah, blah. And then further on down the line, they'll introduce another character who you find out has similar personality or interests or whatever as the previous character that you're playing with. But that entire sort of aspect of them is their entire personality. They've got nothing outside of that. So playing through, what was it I was trying the other day? I can't remember. It was an RPG, but the starter characters you had, there was 2 guys and a girl, and it's very heavily hinted that the girl is not interested in either of the guys because she has her eye on another girl that's like a minor background character. And it's mentioned offhandedly once. It's like, awesome, cool. These are pretty well-rounded characters, personality-wise. Sweet, yep, all works, blah, blah, blah. Later on, you lose some of those characters and you get new members for your team. And one of the characters that joins is another girl who is also interested in girls. That's her entire personality, though. You find out nothing else about her, about what her interests or anything else is,
Just
other
that
than
she's gay.
Yes, that's all all that ever gets mentioned about.
I think
her.
that's lazy.
It is lazy.
That's lazy.
It is lazy,
And
yeah.
it's this, to be devil's advocate, that you see different types of characters like that, especially in like shonen, like anime and things like that, will be like a pervy guy or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm sorry, it's the same. That's lazy character design, everything like that. And there'll be some characters where there's a bit more depth to them. Like, for example, I mean,
it's one thing if it's a minor background character that you're never going to see again. May have it a one-note character. That's fine. It doesn't add anything or detract anything next episode when they're never mentioned again. But when it's a main character who's like there for half the
whole
screen
thing.
time and they're a one-note personality,
it does seem like a lot of it's pushed. I need to talk about this thing. I need to. This is my whole character, which I think
Did you
is
see we added a gay character? Did you see we added one?
yes,
It's right here.
That, exactly. It seems like
Yes.
it's
You
not that we
forgot, by the
care
way, I'm
about
gay.
these issues. It's that we want to look like we care about these issues, so then
It's-
we get better. Like
You're ticking
XYZ
box on
yeah.
a list. You're not actually believing on
Yeah, like-
it. Yeah.
it's not a thing put into their characters. For example, like an infamous like one note character, but actually isn't, is like, for example, Master Roshi. He's
Yes.
supposed to Master Roshi in Dragon Ball is known as like a pervy guy, blah blah blah. But he can also be the complete opposite of that and actually be a proper master, things like that. There's a lot of points,
He's a gag character when he needs to be, but actually
but he's
has
a proper character
Yeah,
when he
he
also
has
needs to be.
substance.
And he's got proper depth and substance, things like that. One character I hate. Did you guys watch any of My Hero Academia?
No.
little bits and pieces. I haven't watched
Oh,
it in
that
full.
fucking guy with the balls on his head. In the Minato or something like that.
yeah.
Midoriya is the main character.
Yeah, he
He
has the little
sucks.
the gun balls. Yeah.
This guy here. Oh, where is he?
Just put gumballs.
Gumballs.
Class 1A, because that's the people in it. Let's have a look.
Check images and see if there's anything there.
Yeah, well, I'm going to find the character's name. Yeah, because here we go.
There he is.
Mineta. He fucking sucks. I stopped watching this show and reading it yonks ago. His whole character is that he's fucking horny. And it sucks. Like, I don't know anyone who likes this character. He's like, oh, I like balls. I like women. It's like,
Hey,
shut
go-
the
scroll up a
fuck
little bit.
up.
Look at the first line on the personality page.
Is a timid but perverted to the point of infamy, which makes him unpopular with girls and even some of the boys who consider his interests of mannerisms depraved and rude. Yeah, this is one of those characters where it's just over the top and like, fuck off. It is annoying how much. I mean, like, you're always going to have stuff like, oh, it's Chris Sabat talking about.
By that same token, One Piece. One of the characters in that really, really annoys me is Usopp. Because
Usopp? Yeah, what for?
every single time he appears on screen, it's always like loudmouth bravado, and then when it actually comes to it, they make a huge point about him. Oh, he's actually very cowardly, and now he's going to have a character arc where he once again sort of overcomes his fears, and that. It's like, how is that all his personality is? I talk big and I'm a coward. Oh, but now I'm going to get past it. Like, give him some other.
I think later on
arcs.
he does.
I know after the time skip, they made a big push to round him out more. Awesome. For the first, like, up until that point, hated him. Every time he was on screen, I was
That's
like,
fair.
yep, skipping forward.
I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this. Luffy. I think it's terrible.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Luffy is just, I'm dumb.
You don't watch One Piece for Luffy, though.
No, you don't.
As much as he is the main character, it's about everyone else who decides to follow this complete nutter
yeah,
across the
basically
ocean.
everyone else on the crew is better.
Yeah.
Luffy's like, I'm dumb idiot. I like eat food.
Stretchy
and then,
man.
Yeah, stretchy, and then I might get serious during fight.
Yeah.
Or like a couple of times and things
Which,
like
to
that.
be honest, that's Goku as well. I am fun, goofy man
Yeah,
until
but-
it's time to fight.
I don't know. So Goku's not a very deep character. I won't lie. He's not a deep character. But
Every clip I've seen of Goku, that's more enjoyable to watch than anything I've seen on One Piece, though.
yeah. See, there's a lot of stuff where you look at Dragon Ball and Goku's dumb, but not like Luffy dumb. Luffy's just like, I'm literally on the spectrum, like, oh, like, what's
I
going
ate
on?
weird fruit out of the box from nowhere, and now
Yeah. Where Goku is like, he's just dumb. He's literally a country bumpkin.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. He didn't go to school. He didn't do anything, blah, blah, blah.
he's
Do
a
you
hick.
find that's a very common thing, not just in shonen, but like in a lot of anime where the
Mm.
main character, you have to be missing a couple of brain cells there in order to.
Makes them relatable for the
A,
general
a
audience.
lot of, yeah, well, it was definitely a shonen thing. I think that's one reason I like Bleach. Because
Yes.
Ichigo's actually smart. He's a delinquent, and he doesn't go to a lot of classes, things like that. But it's said multiple times. Yeah, he gets like A's in every class. He does all this. He's fairly smart. He's not an idiot.
Yeah.
That's why I liked Bleach the most out of all of them. I've watched
because the characters were actually believable as like,
Yeah.
this is a person who could exist in the real world.
And Yorichi's fine, bruh.
Jesus.
But no, yeah, you see a lot of that. There's also like ditzy characters that don't have much
It seems like
substance
that
in
live
that.
action as well. There's plenty of examples of that in like normal TV shows and movies and stuff, which it's there to fill a void. Whether or not it adds anything to it is a different story.
Yeah, well, I was talking about this earlier and I brought it up to you guys. Getting back into video games. By the way, this is a gaming podcast. We're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about movies,
Everything
games.
from
Anime.
We might need to take that off him if that keeps happening.
No, we just need to have more on there so it's funnier. See, I like that one.
Yeah, that one is good. But what is your guys' thoughts? Do you think gaming is a better medium than movies?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so as well. On a whole, I think it is. I think there's a lot more shit. Actually, I don't know.
Look, there's stuff that movies can do better than games,
Oh yeah.
but like for pacing, for example, I think movies can approach pacing far better than games can, because games will quite often, particularly when you have things like a musical score to tie into an emotional scene, you're trusting the player to keep up the pace on that. Whereas with a movie, it's either you're watching it and you're understanding what's happening, or you're rewinding and
Well, I think it just needs to be done proper. I mean,
Yeah.
for example, when we think, you probably got the same idea as me. When I think about an emotional scene with score in games,
Metal Gear.
no, but yes, there's definitely like one of the best points of that. Actually, this is the ending fight of Metal Gear Solid 4. There's 4 stages in the fight, and each stage they play the theme for Metal Gear Solid 1, Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 3, Metal Gear Solid 4. But no, Halo.
yeah.
Yep, the Warthog runs, all through that. Like, all the points, they're so spot on when they want to do music and then cut scenes and things like that.
Yeah.
I think
But it's,
stories in games, there is not as many good stories as there is in film, just because of the medium is not as large. It makes way more money, but not as large.
And also the film industry has been going on for a substantially longer time period. Than
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But I think they're better stories a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, another thing about it is, and this is something that I'm basically pulling this directly from a comedian's act. Dara O'Brien doing a part on about how games are a very interesting medium because they're skill based. In order to see most of the story, you have to be skilled enough to actually reach those parts. Whereas a movie doesn't do that. Books don't do that. Theatre and plays and everything don't do that. There's no point in them where the movie will stop and someone comes out and goes, all right, I need you to quickly solve this puzzle in order to see the rest of the movie. It's
fair.
you can miss parts of the story. You can miss on parts that they've sunk considerable time and resources into designing all of this, and certain sections of the viewership is never going to see it.
Yeah. There's a bunch of like added content and stuff where it's optional that you miss out on 10, 15 hours worth of gameplay if you don't walk that little bit further, or you don't go talk to that random guy who's got a question for you.
Yeah.
Which, like, I know with God of War they did that a lot. There was a whole hidden section you could do that explored another whole area of one of the maps if you didn't go do that side mission and collect a ball
Yeah.
for someone.
Which I suppose the equivalent part of that for movies, and that would be if you go and watch the spin-off series.
Yeah, which we'll get into Marvel and their downfall, but that's a whole thing.
But yeah, no, I think that the top video game stories, at least, opposed to some of the top movies, like their story-wise, I think games win. I think they do. I mean, like,
there's definitely years.
as
I
someone
feel-
who, sorry to cut you off, but as someone who has a degree in film production, communications, media production, it was all film studies, everything like that. Gaming is better. It just is.
Yeah.
Like, the highs from games are way better.
Because you can actually make the person viewing it feel
Not even that.
directly involved.
I feel like the stories, because now it's a bit different because you can basically do everything with film.
Yeah.
But I feel like the stories are just better. They just are. I feel like they're a lot more creative. 'Cause probably, you know why? It's probably because they don't have as much
Oversight.
downward force from from parent companies saying you can't do this, you can't do
I
that.
agree with that because I mean we've seen plenty of games where like they've released teaser trailers, they've released stuff, and then it just disappears because the head studio pulls funding at the last minute. But there's also, I think, what has helped them reach this level of like much better storytelling, and that is going to be the fact that the technology has evolved to a point where you can have all of that first and foremost at the front of the screen. Like you could tell stories for NES games and that. You can't actually show. I can't vocalize this properly. Sorry.
No, you can't.
You can't sort of get the player invested as much when you're a tiny little sprite running across the screen as you can when it's a fully 3D rendered environment and you are actually able to feel like you're there present.
Most gaming cutscenes now feel like movie quality content anyway.
Oh yeah.
Because they're all done the highest engine. Like I can't remember what the game is, like the Diablo cutscenes and like just game trailers. They're like 10 minutes long and they're better than some of the content we've had for films this year.
Yeah, I mean, I do still think it's probably some downward force because, I mean, cutting funding is nowhere near as often as studios wanting to make changes to scripts, which is basically every single movie.
Or them just completely, movies finished, production's done, and now Batgirl is gone forever because they've gone, we're not releasing this, and locked it away in a vault. Everyone got paid, but the movie's never seen the light of day.
There's games that have done that as well, where they've got to the finished stage and they've gone, no, it's no different to this other game that this other studio released.
Well, no, that's the thing is I don't think so because games are something you can, they're so fluid, you can change them so much a lot easier. So it'll take time.
Easier,
but I feel like there's just, you look at your top game. We've got a trend on this podcast where we like to bring up the same like 4 or 5 games or stories every single time. Let's go back to one we haven't brought up in maybe an episode. Call of Duty Black Ops 1. The numbers. I talked about how I watched all those cutscenes a while ago.
Yeah.
I compare that, if that was done in a movie, it would be fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I can't think of... Can you think of any movies recently that you've been like, wow, that was so good, I can't wait for the next one?
I'll be completely honest.
Yeah.
I don't recall the last movie I watched. I haven't watched movies or watched any, like, even TV series. I'm sort of like drawing more and more away
Or like
from.
even something you've been blown away by. I think the last one where people were like, wow, that was really good, was a while ago, and that was
The Penguin. I just finished The Penguin.
But is it just a good show? Or is it anything different or new?
Well, I mean, when they did the Batman movie a few years ago, that was different to all the other sort of Batman stuff we'd had because it's more...
At the same time, it's adapting a character that's been out for 90 years.
Same, still. You find games that have all got common themes that go back forever. But then it continuously builds on the world and the pacing's good, acting's great, and it just keeps going. But movies, I mean, Godzilla -1 was great, and I'm keen for another one. What else have I seen? Transformers 1 was good. They'll probably do another one, but I mean, I'm not on the edge of my seat waiting for it. And I think the last time we went to the movies was Alien Romulus, which was good, but I mean...
Yeah, I didn't mind Romulus too much.
I don't think it's going to get a direct sequel, but
No.
the success of Alien Isolation made whoever directed it, I can't think of who it was now, gave him the idea to do Romulus. And then because the movie did so well, they're now doing a sequel to Isolation because it's all just continually building off itself.
But I mean, like, I just think it's funny that there's a lot of these, not to put down the people who are the script writers or the story leads or whatever on these gaming studios. Not saying that they're not as acclaimed as these professional script writers for movies, but I feel like they're doing a better job.
They are these days.
They're way better job. Like even 20 years ago. Like I
was gonna say, like, what's the last movie tie-in game you remember that actually did well, even though it should be following the exact same story as the movie?
Movie tie-in games aren't really a thing
Well,
anymore.
no, they're not mass-produced, but they're quickly flung out there to try and make an easy buck on top.
Or should you
reform
reform the question to be games based on movies or vice versa?
Well, how many movies have you seen come out that are based on games? There's definitely more nowadays, but if we do go back 20 years, barely any.
Yeah, because video gaming isn't. It's not
far more mainstream now.
Well, but it's still not taken seriously by old media. That's the thing. And I don't like. I brought this graph up a while ago. I don't know if I showed you guys, but the earnings between
the movie industry,
gaming and literature, and gaming is literally like 5 to 10 times more than anything else.
Yeah.
Is that incorporating like virtual currency and that sort of thing into it, or is it just like overall?
Well, let me get it up. Keep talking though.
What was I going to say? I had a point that's now escaped me.
You'll find it.
I'm trying, but.
Well, I mean, what's the last movie you watched that you were like, oh, this would have been a great game?
Oh, Transformers 1 was the last movie I did watch, which again was great, but there's been some. I don't guess there really hasn't been a good Transformers game.
I mean, War for Cybertron was pretty good.
Yeah, but that was also like 15 years ago now.
Yeah.
I don't know. Trying to think. But I mean, it's difficult. I watch a lot of movies, but I don't think unless there's sort of an animated sort of movie or like an action. I mean, comedy movies wouldn't really work as games, but
yeah. Well, look at this. This is a graph here that I've got industry revenue, comparing the music, films, and video game industry since 2001 to 2021. And around 2001, even 2001, it was almost on par with music. It was already above film.
Yeah.
And every year since, it has grown. It was basically on par in 2002, and from 2003 onward, it has been higher up than music and film. And it is, at 2021, it is 4 times as much as films? Maybe 3?
3, 4, yeah.
See,
that is a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, but I would also like to know the split from that with what is, like,
microtransactions
correct,
and
Yeah,
but
they also
interested to
probably
see that breakdown as well.
But at the same time, you'd probably do that with merchandising for movies, because that's a main big thing.
But you can also do merchandising for games.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that though. But it's definitely a much bigger market for merchandising for movies
because
this says games.
This says movie box office, which is just money made by having asses in seats. The gaming industry, like if they just went on game sales, I would like to know what the split with that is. Yeah. But at the same time, the amount of games released worldwide each year is probably a lot higher than movies.
It is substantially higher than it was 20 years ago.
Wouldn't be surprised if this wasn't microtransactions, because it's talking about back to these years here where microtransactions weren't a thing. Yeah. They started probably more about 2013, 2014.
No, earlier than that.
But in most things, no. It was only a couple like DLCs and things like that.
But like
microtransactions weren't like a big thing until probably about 10 years ago.
Probably a bit earlier than that now because it's nearly 2025. But yeah, around like I think one of my first online games was Black Ops 1.
Yeah.
Which was 2011?
2010.
Yeah. But even then, before that, the games I owned were solely story games. There was no big online, which is why I probably reckon that's a lot closer and starts to build up as you get to your Xbox Live and your PlayStation Plus.
I reckon around here is when microtransactions became a thing.
No, it's earlier than that.
Yeah, they were there, but I'm not saying they weren't. They weren't big.
In mainstream gaming, I'll agree with you.
Yeah,
2012.
If it's in some random game, that doesn't make a drop in the bucket for the revenue. I'm talking about the point that it would start making a difference for the industry if it was counted in this type of thing.
That there is going to include mobile gaming, which mobile gaming has had transactions since like 2010 at least.
And then you've got like RuneScape and World of Warcraft and stuff like that for the earlier games for PC, because that sort of stuff I'm
saying I don't think it would, because if it did, there would be a way bigger uptick at one certain point. It wouldn't be as steady, I don't think.
I want to have a look and see if I can
I think you're wrong, but anyway.
Brock's not happy, bruh. But no, in more recent time, 100%. I'm not disagreeing. I don't think it was that early. I really don't. There was microtransactions in games and there was DLCs and things like that, but they weren't at the point where it's like gacha stuff now and loot boxes. Because you got to think.
The point of,
so
just ridiculousness.
what is the microtransactions that are actually making money, like making money that would make a difference on a graph like this, would be like microtransactions. Would be loot boxes.
Yeah.
You agree with that? Yeah. Yeah. Gacha and like in your Honkai Star Rails, all that type of stuff. VC.
Yeah.
VC. FIFA points for like FIFA cards.
Even just your normal virtual currency in general, like.
But they're the big ones by far. I think that those two, mostly FIFA points, are by far the biggest things out of that whole market.
But here I put up a Forbes article looking for this one. 2022 gaming industry 184.4 billion. 2022 for music was 26 billion and film was 26.
That's crazy, man.
But I'm trying to see if they break down where that money's coming from, because here it's like the first thing they mention with gaming is gaming and their partnerships leads to a bigger way for like money to be made, and then it's a Snoop Dogg and Call of Duty, which is a $30 bundle, and that sold ridiculous amounts.
Yeah, a lot of that. There's so much more of that stuff now. But I wouldn't be surprised if that type of stuff isn't counted on here, because I've also heard that they are a bit hush-hush about how much money that makes because of how ridiculous it is. Yeah. And there's probably some sort of regulation that could be brought in if people knew how much.
Yeah.
Or more taxes and...
Oh yeah, 63% of Gen Z would rather play video games than watch a movie.
Which I don't doubt. Like,
yeah.
The thing is, what are you more keen for? A movie that's going to take 3 years to make, or a game? Because you can make a great game in 3 years, and you can make a great movie, but also a shit movie in 3 years.
Yeah. For me, it all depends on context. Like if it's a movie versus game, and it's, hey, would you rather watch a romantic movie, or would you rather play through a game that's like a dating simulator thing? I'd be like, I mean, neither, but I guess I'll watch the movie because I can just sleep through it, sure. Whereas if it's like, do you want to watch this Marvel movie, or do you want to play this action adventure game? I'll be like, I want to play the action adventure game.
Yeah.
I want to be doing something. Cool. It all depends on your interests and where.
I'm also going to say one thing with the film industry that, as having inside knowledge and being on sets before and doing things like that, I think one reason that the gaming industry is better is that inherently with gaming you need to be up to date with the newest technology and constantly adapting, things like that.
Yes.
The movie industry is, there's certain things that are very set in their ways. Earlier this year, I went up to Queensland for the ACTA Awards, which is the Australian Television and Cinema something awards. It's almost like a little Oscars thing. It's very, very small compared to that. But I went up and went to some panels, blah, blah, blah. And there is so much, like, older ideas of how to do things and how things are done, because it's such an aging industry. There's still a lot of people in the film industry who have been there for 40 years and they don't want to change. And we do these things this way. We use this type of camera. We use this and we use this because this is the best way to do it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
But it's not even that. It's, you can use newer technology that would be cheaper and more efficient. No. Hey, we need more jobs out there. We do. But there's also probably about half the jobs on a movie set don't need to be around anymore. They don't. I mean, sorry.
That's not just movies and whatnot. That can be said of a lot of industries, but it's probably much more.
But this is like
much more not visual. Stands out a lot more on a movie set when there's like 90 people needed there to shoot a scene, and over 2/3 of that are just standing there waiting in the wings for like, we're waiting for something.
Well, what do you think about the strikes that happened last year? Like, the amount of people that are needed to work on a movie set were all like, oh, you know what, we're not getting paid enough. We're going to all leave the job and go on strike. And then the whole industry shut down and it's still recovering. And they were gone for like 9 months. It's ridiculous. That if a game studio, they go, oh, we're not going to work today, they'll just hire more people to do it because there's a lot more obviously around to do so.
Or they'll just be like, okay, the graphic artists don't want to work. Cool, we're going to work on sound design today. Like they'll pivot.
Yeah, but
it's
something that I definitely noticed. Where there's so many things where it's like, man, you don't need to do it this certain way or don't need to do these things.
Yeah.
I'm so inexperienced compared to a lot of these people, but I do have somewhat of a background and have got experience, and it's just funny to look at. It's like no wonder gaming's
taking off and like leaving all the dust.
If you don't adapt, you get stuck doing the same thing.
That's exactly what I was going to say, because you said like don't fix what isn't broken. There is some truth to that, but there's far more truth, I think, in adapt or die.
Yes.
Like you either you stay up to date, you stay present, or you get left behind. And if you don't, if you're stuck in your ways, then all right, we'll see you in 2 years when you're a dusty relic.
You got to think it's like movies are getting more and more and more expensive to film, but I don't feel like a lot of them are really showing that in the quality. Like you look at an Avengers movie, hundreds of millions of dollars. Why? Oh, we used green screen for this and we did this and then we did this. Half this shit people don't care about.
You can do green screen in your bedroom and have it look fantastic. Like what's his name? Ian Hubert does all these stuff in Blender and films everything in his house or in a studio. And they're like Oscar-worthy performances and stuff from him having a green screen and a small little setup with a camera.
So,
I mean,
I've just pulled up the Terminator 2 budget. It was $100 million. This movie I still think looks better than most newer Marvel movies. There was so much stuff they did in this they didn't need to do. But you think of it, if you could probably cut down this budget so much if you use newer tech and did stuff like that.
How much did it earn at the box office?
Oh yeah, I could.
Because I've got another movie I would pull up to
It's
show
a
this
lot.
as well.
Yeah, so it's like 5 times back. It was 519 to 520 million.
Okay, now look up Alien budget.
Oh yeah, the original Alien. Yeah, no, I know this was a very low budget.
11 million.
Yeah, 11 million.
And now at the box office.
Oh, Aliens was it Alien? Alien made
176 million.
Let's have a look.
75.
75. Okay, from 11 million. Now, from Alien, and I mean, original Terminator would have done this as well. No green screen, no CGI or anything like that.
There definitely wasn't in Terminator 2 CG.
Okay, I'm more talking Alien, but I said it might have been in Terminator as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, all the like the what's the spaceship called? The Nostromo.
Yeah, Nostromo.
Like all practical effects. It's like a model on a set somewhere.
Yeah.
All the new Alien movies, it's all CGI.
No, like
how much more does it cost for CGI these days than it does for practical effects?
people bring this up all the
It's a
time.
very
There's
loaded
times where
question,
CGI is definitely needed, but it is so unneeded for so many things. And I think,
Fuck the volume.
yeah, the volume. That's the big thing. Is like about the volume.
The volume, no.
It's a big studio where they have like massive screens around, and it's like
big LED like half dome, and they film. That's what they did all the Mando stuff.
Mandalorian in.
Ah, okay.
But it's more set. It's more designed like a fancier green screen. So you're meant to have like they set it up and they go, cool. We set it out and have the ground all to be matching the set, and the background's all done in Unreal, and they put rocks there and they get it so that way when the light's reflecting on the character, it's realistic lighting, but it's all done through like LEDs. And then half the time they have all the filming done on that, and then they just scrap it all together and then replace the whole background. So they spent millions of dollars to use this set, and then CGI out it all anyway. But you could also then just drive to the desert and film at sunset and get the same reaction and cost.
Like I know we're saying adapt, but then there's certain things that they fixate on.
Yeah.
and
Every
they keep
movie,
going. Yeah,
every movie the last 8 years has used the volume since they had one. We've got one in Melbourne now.
yeah, no, there is one.
I don't know why, but we've got one in Melbourne.
Because, what I was going to say was with the Marvel movies, like you were saying how much they cost to make in that, and a lot of it's all CGI. Like that Avengers Endgame, where they've got Thanos' ship and everything coming down, that could have been a practical effect.
There's so many things.
It's a big, other than the cuts at the front, it's a big smooth ship. You don't need we need to have someone go through and render all the little screw bolt plates and everything. I'm like, no. It was good enough for Star Trek for 60 years. Slap a couple of milk bottles together and have at it.
It takes away.
The practical versus CGI is a different topic altogether. But still, I agree with what you're saying. There's choices where they don't need to go all in. Like if you look at the first Iron Man movie, then look at Iron Man in the first Avengers movie. That the budget for Iron Man was nothing compared to what they had for Avengers, and the suit looked fantastic.
Yeah,
because they spent time and energy making sure it looked realistic, like the first Transformers.
And it's just like having care and not diluting your staff and having 1 billion people on a project, which I know it sounds like, oh, you want to take away jobs and things like that. It's not that. It just feels like a lot of these movies are just so soulless and it's just full of shit, and where I feel like there's a lot of, even, for example, the biggest game series of all time, GTA, still feels like there's so much love and care putting into that. I know there's the online stuff where there's 1 billion microtransactions and things like that.
But they're using that money to fund their game.
Yeah, but they still put so much effort into that single player. Way more than they need to be. And they are a massive company. And you just don't see that on these big movies.
Even the effort you see on the DLCs they add to GTA 5 still. There's still many story missions. They get good voice actors in. The content's good for a few weeks. And they still care about it.
Yeah.
You can definitely reflect on it.
It's something, and I know his name's kind of a bad word at the moment, but Joss Whedon had, this is like going back almost 15 years ago, he did a talk panel and said, if you're looking to create something, like whether it be a movie or a game or whatever, and you're looking to create something just so that you can sell it, then you have fundamentally missed the point of it. It should be that you have an idea or a story to tell, and if it sells, great. That's a bonus.
That's why I really urge everyone, I talked about this last episode, go watch the Half-Life 2 documentary that just came out, because it talks about the big leaks when Half-Life 2 got leaked and everything like that, and how everyone on the team was distraught.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you weren't supposed to see that yet, or like, because everyone cared so much about it. And you just don't see that with movies as much. Indie stuff, and lower budget things, but you get to these big movies and that's just a paycheck, and it's just like no one cares, and there's very few times there are big movies coming out and you're like, oh, there's been put a lot of love and care into this.
Yeah, passion project versus run to market.
Yeah, no one's making art for art's sake anymore. They're doing it to make money.
Yeah.
And then when there is movies where people put a lot of effort in and things like that, they've blown up. Like
Godzilla Minus One.
Godzilla Minus One, barely any budget.
26 people worked on it, or 26 visual effects artists worked on it.
And it won the Oscar for Best Visual Effects.
Honestly, the internet's full of passion projects like that look so good.
You see the Batman Beyond fan film?
Yes.
It looks ridiculous.
I saw like a clip of that.
There's a
What
bunch
was
of
that movie that came out a few years ago?
There's a bunch of it's not quite student films, but there's a bunch of stuff on YouTube that's just, as you were saying before, it's just one guy with Blender doing it at home, and they're amazing.
Yeah, they are.
They look unreal.
What was the movie a couple years ago, and everyone went crazy for it with Michelle Yeoh?
Everywhere, everything, all at once.
Everything, everywhere, all at once. That movie had heaps of care put into it, and it looked fucking great. And the budget was pretty small from what I remember.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was really, really good.
Yeah, no, it was a really good movie. So it made.
I'm pretty sure Nick raves about this one, saying that it's really.
It's a really good movie. Have you watched it?
I haven't watched it.
I would recommend it by far.
I mean, we were just saying before. I don't even remember the last movie I watched, honestly.
But 25 mil for that movie's insane. It looks better than so much. And I remember seeing little interviews and stuff. It's like, oh, for this scene, I thought it'd be cool if we did this. So I just went out one night and I shot all these things. And do you know the scene where she's like going through and it's got like all the different scenes behind her? That was just one of the guys in the cast on the crew was like, I thought it would have been cool if it was just all different places. So like every
and
night
shot-
for like a year. He went out and just took a photo and stitched it together to make it look like this chick was falling through like a bunch of different parallel realities and stuff like that. It was really cool.
Okay.
But it was a movie that had care in it, and it looked so good for such a small budget.
Yeah. Well, that's like all the. I haven't seen a bad A24 film yet. Because all of them put in. They're smaller. It's obviously a smaller studio, but like
Well, the thing is, A24 don't make a lot of the movies. They
just
license and
Yeah. Well, who did Talk to Me?
that was the
I can't think of what their names are.
it was the Philippou boys. That
Yeah.
they were the main guests at that thing I went to this year, and it was what's the company? It's an Australian production company that did it.
What's coming into my head is Screen Media, but I don't think it's.
No, that's not Screen Media. Let me get it up. But it was made by that, and then it got picked up by them because it was very much one of their types of.
But yeah, they directed and like wrote the film themselves, and then they've been doing visual effects on YouTube for the better part of it over a decade, and you can tell because everything in that movie still has their touch to it, and when movies and stuff like that, it's great.
They ruffled a few feathers in the industry because they
Umbrella?
No, it's not Umbrella. It's I saw that was there. It wasn't them. Where is it? They ruffled a few feathers because that's them.
Yeah.
You might have seen them. They're on YouTube. They're called Raka Raka.
They did the Ronald McDonald skits and stuff.
Oh,
and
the
like
one
the Harry
where he's
Potter
like,
fights.
okay, yes.
Causeway
okay.
Films. That's
Yeah,
who
okay.
it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've mentioned, like, the second you said Ronald McDonald, I'm pretty sure we've talked about these guys before, yeah.
No, they've done heaps of stuff. Like they did a lot of stuff with Sidemen years ago. Did skits in their house and stuff like that.
They were like one of
They've
the
done
biggest
Dragon Ball
YouTube.
things as well.
Yeah, one of the biggest YouTube Australian YouTubers. But they made this movie. They rustled some feathers because they brought a lot of like new school stuff techniques into it. I'm pretty sure that crew was like 20 people that made that movie. It was
all
shot
done.
in a couple weeks. It was all this stuff. When they went up to accept their award at the actors and that, everyone else is in suit and ties and they're walking up in just like standard clothes and things like that.
Yeah.
They're not conforming to
No,
what.
they're upsetting all the old folks.
Yeah, and a lot of them are getting shitty about it. A24 is a newer production house who are way more open to that stuff. So like, yeah, no, come in here, do this XYZ thing.
And having their first movie get 94%
Blew
on Rotten
up, yeah.
Tomatoes is
And it was
huge.
And that's the thing, is that I feel like there would be a lot more people who'd be able to do stuff like this if it was a lot more approachable to get into film like that. They still had to go on sets and be runners and do all this stuff. They worked on the Babadook,
Yeah.
if you know of that movie.
I do know.
Yeah,
that,
I think it was Michael, or was it Danny? I don't remember. One of them was like a runner and did some like helped out on the set of that just to learn how to do it. And they still had to sort of go through the traditional way to do this movie, but they had all this backing from Screen Australia. They had their backing from doing these YouTube clips for years and all this stuff to be able to do this. So they were still very lucky to be able to do this.
See how much it made at the.
I already had a look. It was.
Because they've done 4. Oh yeah. I mean their budget was $4.5 million.
It's done 92.2.
Good return. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. But yeah, it's just annoying that it's so that the film industry is just still so stuck in its old way and in the past, and I think that's why the game industry is so much more progressive, and
I mean,
it still hasn't been highlighted as much because the people in the film industry want to keep it how it is,
Yeah.
even though it's making way more money.
And we have been talking shit about the film industry a lot today, but please still hire us.
Oh God, yes, yes, we definitely have.
We are 2 film students who need jobs.
Yep.
Please.
I definitely don't have about 50 grand worth of gear pointed at us to do this podcast because I haven't had as much work recently. God, yeah.
I would like a job, just in general.
You have one.
A
You
film
just
job.
got full time.
I did. I want a film job. Well, that'd be fun.
It would be, but we're in Australia, so sucked in.
Yeah, we'll go see what these guys are doing.
I can tell you right now, you're not getting involved.
Absolutely not. What were you going to say, Brock?
I didn't think I was going to say something, was I?
I don't know.
If I was,
You were going to go. Oh, yes.
I don't know how to articulate this.
1,
So
2,
I'm not allowed to make
3,
noises, but he'll
4,
make noises. straight in the
5.
mic.
He paid
to
for
the
all
other
of
one.
this.
Yeah, I know he
1,
paid for all of
2,
this.
3, 4, 5.
Well, we've been going for an hour, so I think
Are we going to save it there?
They said yeah. So say that again.
Yeah, I don't think I've got anything else to add today.
Yeah, neither.
Neither. We will save it there in that case.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
10 toes.